Hello, let us look at the some review of the circle questions. So first question here we have an equation of the circle whose center is negative 3 comma 1. Now, just for your reference, if the center of the circle is h comma k, and then the radius is equal to r, then our equation becomes x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. That's what we end up getting. So since the center is negative 3 comma 1, that means we're going to put negative 3 in place of h. So we're going to get x minus negative 3, meaning x plus 3. So we're looking at 3 over 4. And y minus kk is equal to 1, so y minus 1. So we're looking at these two. But the radius is equal to 8, but we have to square that, so we end up getting choice 3 becomes our answer because 8 is 8 squared. Right. Let's look at the second question here. If the graph here and then drawn on the same axis, what is the total number of common to both graphs? Now, so here we have if this is x-axis and y-axis, and imagine if I were to sketch a circle. Then here we will realize that because radius squared is equal to 4, that means r, the radius, is equal to 2. So here we have 2, negative 2, negative 2, and 2. Now, y equals negative 4, that will be a line below this one. And that could be y equals negative 4. And that circle is the first one. How many points are common between the circle and the line? None. There's nothing common. So therefore, our answer is choice 5. 0 common points. Number 3. Which is an equation of locus of points. Basically, locus of points implies collection of points that are 3 units from this point. Meaning collection of points 3 units from here. In fact, we're talking about the circle. Center is at 3 comma 2, so therefore x minus 3 and then y minus 2, which is one of these. But radius is equal to 3 because 3 units away. That means equation has to have 3 squared, which is choice 1 becomes our answer. Number 4. Here, by looking at the formula, center has to be x minus h. That means the 3 is the value of the center here. Since we have plus 5, that means minus 5 must be the center. 3 comma negative 5. And 9 is what we have. That means a square root of that because this must be r squared. So radius becomes 3. So choice 4 becomes the answer. Number 5. If the graph of the equation represents the locus of points given this d distance from the origin. D in this case will be equal to radius. So therefore, we have 9. Then our radius becomes, in fact, 3, which is choice 3. Now here we have isosceles triangle, and then BAC. BAC is 40. Then find the measure of arc AC. So what they're asking us to do is find the measure of this arc right over here. But since we are looking at an equilateral isosceles triangle, so that piece must be equal to this piece. And since this is 40, then its intercepted arc must be double of that because the ratio is 2 to 1. So BC must be equal to 80. But we know that if this one is x, then this also must be x. So when you add them up, measure around the circle would have been 360. So we have 2x plus 80 must be equal to 360. So 2x must be equal to 280 by subtracting 80 from both sides and dividing by 2, so x must be equal to 140. So choice 3 becomes the answer. Now, in this case, we are looking at what is the measure of the inscribed angle ABC, so that will be equal to x. So from your memory, we know that if we have inscribed angle, and if this is a and this is x, we know that x equals a over 2. And using that idea, since this central angle is 60, the measure of intercepted arc is also 60 degrees because they are equal to each other. But the inscribed angle is half of that, so we end up getting 30 becomes the answer, choice 2. Now number 8, in a circle, inscribed angle intercepts an arc of 140. So arc is 140, meaning part of the circle is 140. Let me try to draw the picture for you. So that's equal to 140. Now what is the number of degrees of the measure of this angle? Angle is right over here, inscribed angle. And this is half of 140, so therefore we get 70 becomes our answer. Number 9, center has to be 3 comma negative 2. That means we are starting x minus 3 square, and then y minus negative 2 square. Then x minus 3. Oh, the only thing that starts with is choice 2. And as you can see, minus negative becomes plus here. Number 10. So from here you can see that the center is 1 comma negative 2. Then we have x minus 1 square plus y minus negative 2 square. But what's the radius? Notice that they have the same y value. Then our radius from here to here is how many boxes that we have from this point to this point. So negative 1 through 4 becomes 3 units away. So therefore, our radius becomes 3 square. So we end up getting choice 2 seems to be our answer. Because it's not minus, but it has to be a plus in the middle. Alright, number 11. Diameter of the circle has endpoints here. Now, then, if I were to sketch this one, let us assume that negative 2 comma 3 is around here. Negative 2, 3, 1. And then 6 comma 3. 2, 3, 5, 6, comma 3. Then you will see that that's the diameter. And then also let's pass through that point. Okay, now then where is my center? Center has to be right in the middle. That means what's the midpoint between those two? That becomes my center. So negative 2 plus 6 divided by 2, comma 3 plus 3 divided by 2. So the first one becomes 4 over 2, which is 2, comma 3. That becomes the center of my circle. So now then 2 comma 3 being the center, so then choice 1 or 2 becomes the answer then. What's my radius? Whether I go for this way or whether I go for this way, you can see that the distance is what, 4 units. Or you can even use the distance formula between this one and this one, or this center to the other point. Since the radius is equal to 4, then equation should have 16 because of radius squared is what the center squares, distance from the center squares are equal to. So choice 1 becomes the answer. Number 12 here. So which relationship must be true? Let me make the picture a little bit smaller so that we can see better. So first, we get to see that it's triangle CAE and then DBC. Are they congruent? In order for them to be congruent, we need any congruent size, but we have no idea. One thing in this kind of picture, one thing that I can tell you is that angle C must be equal to one of the other angle. Can you guess which angle it might have been? Yes, that's right. It'll be angle D. Why is that? Because both of them shares, if I have to extend the intercepted arc, then you will see that they are sharing arc AB. Then you will realize that angle D also shares arc AB. So that's why they're equal to each other. Now, then you can see that here, these are vertical angles are congruent. So in fact, these two triangles have equal angles. Equal angles imply basically means similar triangle. So AEC and then BED are similar. Okay, so that must be true. Number 13. Which equation is the diameter whose endpoints are this way? Then as soon as you see the diameter, the midpoint becomes the center. So let's try to find the midpoint. So here we get -4 plus 4 over 2 and 2 plus -4 over 2. Then this becomes 0. 2 plus -4 becomes -2 divided by 2 becomes -1. So center is 0, -1. So center is 0, -1. Then which one would have been the answer? So obviously here we have choice 1 or choice 3. Now we need to find the radius. To find the radius, all we have to do is from the center to any one of these 2 points. So radius, we're going to use the distance formula here. So we get 4 minus 0 squared, and then -4 minus -1 squared, which is equal to 4 minus 0 is 4 squared becomes 16, plus -4 minus -1 becomes -3, squared becomes 9. So here we get square root of 25. Therefore, the radius becomes 5. Since radius is 5, then when you put that into an equation, we have to square that. So choice 3 becomes the answer. So from here, angle P is 40 degrees, and then QT is 140. Then what is, I guess, RS? So I'm going to call that into X. So in this picture, you will realize that, let me just remind you of the formula here. If I were to share with you that this is measure of the arc outside is A and inside is B, and then angle here is equal to X, then you know that X must be equal to A minus B over 2. So using that idea, we can say, applying that idea to here, so we get 140 minus X divided by 2 must be equal to 40. Then we can always put it over 1 and then cross multiply them. Then we end up getting 140 minus X must be equal to 80. Then subtracting 140, so negative X must be equal to -60. Then X must be equal to 60. So therefore choice 2 becomes the answer. All right, let's look at number 15 here together. So what is the equation of the circle? So here, this is the center, and then actually all of them has the same. The fact that we have 25 as what the equation is equal to, then radius must be 5. So now negative 1 comma 3, which one has negative 1 comma 3 as the center? Negative 1, then opposite of that becomes plus 1. Obviously looks like choice 1 becomes the answer then. Now we call this one as a cyclic quadrilateral because quadrilateral is inscribed in a circle. Then in that case, you know that opposite angles are supplementary. Angle C. I'm looking for this angle. That means when I add up these two angles, angle C and angle A, they must be equal to 180. So here we get 3x plus 50 plus 7x plus 30 must be equal to 180. So then here we get 10x plus 80 is equal to 180, where 10x must be equal to 100. And you can see that x equals 10. Then we're not done yet because what they're looking for is angle C. Since x equals 10, measure of angle C is 3 times x plus 50. So 3 times 10 plus 50. Then it becomes 80 degrees. So choice B becomes the answer. In this case, as you can see, inscribed angle here is coming from the diameter. That means this intercepted arc is 180. That tells us that this must be 90, meaning right angle. Then the other two angles has to add up to 90, so that 90 plus 90, sum of these two being 90, which is equal to 180. That tells us the sum of the interior angles of a triangle. So then here we get 3x minus 12 plus 5x minus 34 must be equal to 90, because this one is already 90, using the sum of the interior angles formula here. So here we end up getting 8x and minus 46 must be equal to 90 degrees. Now, then, by adding 46, so 8x must be equal to 136. Now, dividing it by 8 from both sides, then x must be equal to, it looks like 17 degrees then. Now, x equals 17, but we want to find out the measure of angle B. So the measure of angle B is 5 times 17 minus 34. So 5 times 17 is in fact equal to 85 minus 34. So we end up getting 51, which is choice 4. Now, let's look at the next question. Here we have arc CD is 70, arc AB is 20. Then what is the angle P? I'm going to call that as X. Just using the formula, then we end up getting 70 minus 20 divided by 2. So here we get 50 divided by 2 is what? 25. And that's all there was. Choice 1. Number 19 here. In the diagram, we have these two measures of the angles are given. What is the degree measure of CEA? CEA, I'm going to call this one as X. So in this case, we have to realize that if I have two intersecting chords inside of the circle, where I can call this angle as X, and this is A, this is B, then we know that X is equal to A plus B over 2. So when you add them up, we get x equals 87 plus 35 divided by 2. Then here we get, I believe it goes 122 over 2, and we end up getting 61 degrees. So choice 2 becomes the answer then. Number 20. So what are we measures of the arc are given, and I'm looking for angle ABC. Same deal here before. X equals 36 plus 20 divided by 2. So we get 56 divided by 2. And we get 28. That's our answer. Choice 3. Alright, we're going to skip number 21. And then we're just going to go for number 22. Once again, cyclic quadrilateral, that means sum of the opposite angles equal to 180, because that's supplementary. So what is the measure of angle C? So that's x. Then opposite of that is angle A. So when you add up these two, it must be 180. So here we have 54 plus x is equal to 180. Then obviously we will subtract 54 from both sides. Then x must be equal to 126. 126 is the answer then, choice 1. Alright, let's look at number 23 here. We're looking for, in this case, angle AED. So here we get that's equal to x. Same way as before, 100 plus 70 divided by 2. Then we get 170 divided by 2. We know this one to be 85. So choice 2 becomes the answer. Alright, in this case, we are looking for a measure of arc BD. So I'm just going to call this one as x. Then what can we say? That's right, 50 plus x divided by 2 must be equal to 34. Then I can put this one over 1 and then cross multiply them. So we get 50 plus x must be equal to 68. By subtracting 50, then you can see that x must be equal to 18 degrees. So 18 becomes our answer. Alright, I guess we'll stop here. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.